the hype and phobia around job disruption, it's not really stopped. People are still very nervous about, not just the IT BPM industry, but most work being replaced by these AI agents that we were just talking about. How would you address, to our viewers and to the general public concerns like this?
Well, one thing that people have to understand is this technology has historically disrupted jobs anyway. What's really kept humanity moving ever forward is as technology progresses, humans also have to adapt. Upskilling is important. I mean, before word processing, people were using electric typewriters. And the first people who learned how to use WordStar or MS Word, it benefited their careers. I think it's the same thing for AI. But AI is a much richer type of technology because it can help you reason, it can help you be creative. So we also have to be creative about how should jobs look like. Like this is the first year of what we're calling Generation Beta. These are kids who will not remember the world without AI. Can you imagine what kind of work and life they will have by the time they enter the workforce in 2045? So we have to start thinking ahead. What does the world look like? What do jobs look like?
So here's a question that even I am very often asked. Given all of that given that AI is here to stay, what are the work types of the future that will be emerging soon? And on the flip side of that, what kind of skills should we be teaching our kids and the incoming generation of job seekers?
Yeah, the immediate transformation will happen in the job areas that are easy to automate. And let's admit it, there's a lot of BPO work that could be easy to automate. Doesn't mean they'll disappear tomorrow. But if you happen to be in such a job, you probably need to look at how do you expand your portfolio of skills. And what are those skills? Anything to do with AI, whether you're building the AI. We see a lot of development in the data science sector, the software developer sector, but focusing on designing how these agents work. That's the real focus. And then for the rest of the workforce, how do you work with AI? We used to talk a lot about prompt engineering. I think that's still relevant. But we also have to start seeing ourselves as part of a workflow where, as I said, out of 20 steps, maybe the first 10 steps were done by AI. How do you receive the output of those 10 steps and then finish a task? And finally, I think there's a big challenge for leaders, those who run businesses, executives. You need to start thinking about how do you redesign your business? How do you redesign your department with AI in mind? And the reason is very simple. You want to stay competitive. They keep saying AI won't take your job. It's people who use AI that'll take your job. If you gross that up, zoom out, it's not AI that will put companies out of business. It's AI-driven companies that will put non-AI-driven companies out of business. So everyone's got to step up and take advantage of this opportunity.
One thing that is seldom talked about, Doc, about AI is the actual cost of AI, because AI is not free. There's a lot of energy that needs to be consumed to process an AI prompt. Big tech has been investing billions and billions of dollars on AI, and shareholders will, at some point, expect a return, right? So it doesn't really mean that everything that can be AI-able, if you can use that word, should be AI'd. So how do we prioritize?
Yeah, it's not just the direct cost. There's a lot of indirect cost. The direct cost is obviously the infrastructure, the software. Indirect cost is you certainly have to train your people. I remember in our last survey, easily 1/4 of our members said they need serious upskilling to remain competitive. So those are serious considerations because at the end of the day, it's a market. Market will go where it's most optimal. And it's companies that have really made investments both in the infrastructure and the people that will reap the rewards. So I think that's going to be the direction for the next few years. How some will be first movers, some will be followers. Fortune favors the bold, in these kinds of situations.
One last question, Doc. We're going to have Secretary Sunny Angara on the show in the next couple of weeks. What advice would you give him in terms of what should we be teaching our students?
I think Ever since the pandemic, there's been a constant slow move from credential-based education. Everyone's still obsessed getting some sort of a diploma, towards skill-based education, where it doesn't matter what degree you have, as long as you can prove you can do a certain job or task. And that's why work like the Philippine Skills Framework that IBPAP members have been part of is very important. And we see a lot of jobs, digital marketer, web developer. These are jobs that don't require any degree, as long as you can prove that you can do the job better. So sitting in DepEd, that's what I would look like. How can we move this entire market from credential-based to skills-based? It's going to require a bit of creativity, and it's going to require AI. We need to teach AI, but we also need to use AI to teach.
From credentials-based to skills-based. That's a big takeaway for today's episode, and that's a wrap.